Good morning. It's great to be here at GOTO Serverless. I'm Robbie Kohler, a VP of Software Engineering at Yum Brands, where I help lead engineering for Byte, our global restaurant platform that powers ordering, delivery, loyalty, AI coaching, and much more. I'm here today to share a project that came at us fast. High stakes, tight timeline, no room for error. It had to be fast, cheap, and good. You know what that is, the iron triangle. You're supposed to only be able to pick two, right? This one felt like a final boss fight. High pressure, limited time, no extra lives. It wasn't always pretty. It definitely wasn't pure, but we shipped. And we did so by mastering trade-offs, leveraging primitives, and always remembering there are no silver bullets. And yes, serverless helped us make it happen. I'll share what worked, what nearly failed, and some of the patterns you can take and use the next time you face the iron triangle in your projects. Let's get into it. Okay, quick intro on Yum Brands. If you don't know who we are, we're the world's largest restaurant company. We have over 61,000 restaurants. You obviously probably know KFC is pretty big in India, I think. Pizza Hut, there's Taco Bell. We also have Habit Burger and Grill. We've been going through a huge digital transformation. We're doing over 30 billion in sales and growing. Yum and AWS. So we go back a bit now. We are all in on AWS, both at the Yum level, all of our brands, and Byte. I think we use at least over 44 services. I counted them, but maybe even more. And we have some heavy serverless brands. I used to be at Taco Bell US for 7 years. We were serverless first, KFC UK as well. Back in 2021, I had the pleasure of doing some talks, and there's also an architecture blog that we did. We love sharing what we built at AWS, or for Yum Brands with AWS. Okay, really quick, I mentioned I work for Byte now. What it is, it's a collection of cohesive AI-powered restaurant products, both in the store and in the cloud. It's powered by the Byte OS platform. I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. We're in over 25,000 restaurants and counting. We have our own homegrown POS, kitchen system, menu, commerce, and more. Okay, I'm going to talk about how our platforms kind of stack on each other. At the base layer, we have AWS. We use everything essentially. There's serverful, there's serverless. We use a lot of managed open source. Oops. On top of that layer, we have basically DevX and enablement layers. So guardrails, IAC. Some teams use Terraform, some use CDK. We have a growing dev portal for self-service. And then we have our Byte OS business capability layer, right? This is where our domain services are, our menu, our store, cart, order. We have an eventing system that allows us to send events to downstream consumers, to make it an event-driven architecture. We have a federated GraphQL that stitches together all the domains. And on the top, the frosting, if you will, of the cake, we have our products. So our SaaS applications, the commerce, the menu. We're going to talk about a new product that we had to build earlier this year. So let's get into the challenge. Okay, earlier this year, we were presented with the challenge to replace an aging PHP-based middleware product for one of our large US-based brands. We had 3 months. It was going to go out of support. That was the main thing driving this timeline. So I had this idea, which I regretted immediately, that, hey, we can actually just build a new product in our Byte by Yum cohesive system. We'll call it Byte Connect, and it'll be our new global middleware solution for all brands globally around the world. So it handled menu and order integrations for delivery aggregators, kiosks, POS systems, and more. All right, so no big deal, right? We got to ship fast, 90 days. We got to be on budget. By the way, this came out of nowhere, so we didn't have time to properly, do an AOP cycle. We had to be scrappy with enterprise-grade quality, right? This has to be a SaaS product. It's going to have to scale. It's not just a one-off toy project. So, you know what? We picked a fight, basically with the final boss, okay? The iron triangle, the dreaded triple constraint. Some people don't think you can beat this, right? I see it as a challenge, though, right? Fast, cheap, and good. Fast and cheap, it's garbage. Fast and good, you spent way too much. Cheap and good, well, you took 2 years to do it. The business problem, it's not even something that's valuable anymore. And you see this picture here. I'm going to go hard on the metaphor that this is like the final boss in the game. So if you play games, you'll know that there's certain games where it's like really, really hard. That's basically the way I'm imagining what the Iron Triangle is. So to take on this challenge, we needed a strategy, right? Without one, you'll fail. It's the final boss. First, we decided to be crystal clear on the win conditions. Like, we got to make sure we have a chance to win. Second, we got to level up the team because they're going to think we're crazy and not be able to do this. So level them up with the right traits and mindset. And third, have the right battle plan, right? The architecture. If you do not have these things, you know what will happen. You will fail, and it won't be a good time. Most IT projects fail, right, for a reason. Okay, so first, setting the win conditions. Okay, so fast. We already needs to be done in 3 months or less. But it also just needs to be fast to make changes, to evolve, to add new developers to the team, fast. Cheap, not just low-cost infrastructure. We can just throw the cheapest EC2. No, we need this to be cheap or cost-effective at scale from day one, right, to maintain and evolve. In good, we have a lot in good here, right? Low latency, super high uptime. In some markets, this has to run. This is like a big part of their business. We got to handle global spikes in traffic. I never want to get paged if there's like a marketing campaign in Japan or something going on. And we need to improve the product itself, so improve the product that existed before. We also have a UI on top of it. It's not just a back-end thing. We need to do all this in 3 months. So this is what we decided good enough looked like. Okay, so like in any game, when you're a level 1 character, you do not go and face the final boss. You will just get destroyed, right? So the first thing we need to do is focus on our traits of our team. So the first is we're going to talk about agility, right? And this is mastering trade-offs. Second, we'll go into strength with leveraging primitives. Talked about that before in the previous talks. 3 is wisdom, right? This is really important that there are no silver bullets. Even with AI, that's not yet a silver bullet. This is the get stuff done trifecta, because that's what we care about, is just getting stuff done. Okay, so first we'll talk about agility, mastering trade-offs. I like this quote, time is what we want most, but we use the worst, and we do not have a lot of time. When this project started, we had basically 90 days to get this done. So the way you have to do this first is ruthlessly prioritize. Everyone, top to bottom, has to be business outcome aligned. And one of the most critical things I learned is that you need to figure out what you're going to do well and what you're going to be like bad at, quote unquote. It's a relative term. You cannot be good at everything. You'll be mediocre in everything if you try to be good at everything. The way we did that in the beginning is we just went through like, okay, minimal but functional UX, fine. Analytics added later, we'll just do DynamoDB stream dumps or whatever, it'll work. Less than 99.9% uptime. Oh, let's not set up active passive. No, we have to do that. So we're acting like every minute matters because it does. Second thing was strength, leveraging the primitives. The classic quote, I learned this when I started working with AWS about standing on the shoulders of giants. And this is all about using the building blocks. So it's not just AWS. In this case, I have that whole Byte OS platform I mentioned earlier, right? They've already built a lot of this multi-channel menu management, order processing, store domain, there's events. I could just hook right in there and build a product on this platform. You combine that with managed primitives from AWS, and then you're cooking with gas, right? You can prioritize managed services. We want to be as low ops as possible. By the way, at this point, we have not yet decided this is going to be serverless, right? We try to go in it with a mindset of we're going to pick the best tool for the job. All right, that leads us to the last one, wisdom. Remembering there are no silver bullets, right? The next genius here, me, serverless is starting to sound like a pretty good option here, right? When you talked about managing or leveraging primitives and all that. Well, we got to make sure with the wisdom that we're going to be pragmatic and not dogmatic. We're not just going to use our favorite tool just because we like it and it worked before. We're going to make sure this is a new, look at it with a new, fresh set of eyes. The perfect solution doesn't exist. From day one, you're going to pivot. You may think you're going to build like a low-code service that can do everything, and you'll realize 2 days in it's not going to work. That's fine. Use the right tools for the job. And the most important thing here, and you're wondering why I'm here, if we didn't use serverless, is if it didn't fit, we wouldn't use it. I was okay with that. But for this use case, it absolutely did. So let's go. So, serverless. Why was it the perfect use case for this? A lot of stuff that's already been talked about. This is, in the integrations we're working on are very event-driven, async by nature. Serverless is perfect for that. bursty, unpredictable traffic. I mentioned marketing campaigns happening around the world. Handles it without any sweat. It's basically no ops, so it's even better than low ops. And the loosely highly coupled, highly evolvable systems, it's a perfect match. It was the right choice for this boss fight. Okay, so the battle plan, this is the architecture really quickly I'll go through. This is essentially very similar like the serverless espresso reference architecture. You have front ends, you have your sources of events, our Byte OS, or integration partners. And then you have your common pattern, the API gateway to event bridge, and then you have your rules firing, right? So you're invoking Lambdas, you're starting express workflows, and DynamoDB was our backend source. So completely managed serverless for everything. What we're dealing with here in Byte Connect, synchronizing menus with delivery partners, getting orders from delivery partners, listening to vets in Byte OS when pricing changes happen, stores hours are changing. Byte, the brand apps, wants to turn off an aggregator. There's events flying in left and right, and we're handling it through this pattern. All right, so we have our party of heroes, okay? We have our focused team. It's a small team, right? And I told you we had to be scrappy. We have our traits leveled up. We have our serverless first architecture. This should be easy, right? It never is, right? The obstacle is the way. And if you have the right growth mindset, you welcome that. You welcome the challenges, and our team was ready. Walk you through a couple mini bosses, right? You never face the final boss, you face mini bosses first. Analytics, I mentioned that we deprioritized that. Hey, a week in, we need it, right? Our business needs it. Like, oh, okay, let's not panic. Back to our traits. Agility, let's do raw data only. Worry about the fancier aggregations later. Strength, the primitives all exist there. It was just, okay, what do I need to compose together? DynamoDB stream, the event bridge pipes, all of it was ready to go. And the wisdom, there's so many ways you can do this. You can get analysis paralysis, fine. We just decided the path of least resistance, which was this flow here. Within 2 days, it was running. Right, this is not something that took multiple sprints and took us off track. Boss defeated. Second one was pause stores. What a pause store is sometimes when someone's on the delivery aggregator here, I think Zwiggy or one of those. If people are placing orders and they start canceling on the POS, they may pause the store. So the business asks, hey, we need better visibility on that because it's really bad when we don't know a store is paused for days. So like, okay, let's build this in the Byte Connect. The problem is they may not send an event that the store was unpaused. They will send us an event that was paused, but you have to pull to get the unpaused event. Back to the traits, no big deal. The aggregator, we asked the aggregator, can you add that? And they're like, maybe next year, right? All right, that's not gonna work. We gotta fix it. We gotta do it now. So we're gonna build something with polling. Strength, event bridge schedules. It's like my favorite thing ever, event bridge schedules. Everyone looks at me weird, but it solves so many problems. It's a beautiful little, well, not little, it's a great service. Perfect world polling would be necessary, but we're gonna do it. We have to. All right, so it's a very simple pattern. When the pause event comes in, it fires off a Lambda. We create an event bridge schedule tied to that single store and aggregator, and eventually, and then we'll just check every 15 minutes. When it gets unpaused, we'll delete the schedule, it cleans up itself, and we have consistency. Solve the problem. Challenge cleared. Third was scaling, not us, right? Serverless is gonna scale. That's why we picked it. We don't have the problem. It's always the downstream systems that can't handle the scale. So, agility, prioritizing customer impact. Menu updates were failing, right? So we needed to fix this now. Essentially what was happening is they were flooding our downstream delivery aggregator, and then menu updates were failing. Strength, again, composing on the primitives. We built basically a very simple throttling mechanism with a token bucket scheme in DynamoDB. We check the bucket. We make sure we process them in order. And our wisdom is like, let's not overthink this. For the most of the time, throttling is an edge case. So we'll just handle most of those menu pushes right away. But if just in case we're over our quota, we'll throttle with an SQS FIFO and we'll automatically handle it. Again, each of these is taking 1 or 2 days to do. Victory. Mini boss 4, item 86ing. Essentially what this is, the store has run out of a product. They've run out of a chicken. They've run out of a crust for pizza. We need to remove it off every single channel. So Byte Connect basically handles that. we didn't really have an issue, but it was a way that our source system worked. They'll send us an individual event for each item that had that crust, for example. So we may get 30 item events. The downstream systems can only receive one, or else we'll flood them again. So we built this really nice debounce solution, again with DynamoDB, Lambda, and SQS FIFO. Primitives were already there. We queue the events up, the FIFO, we get a single deduplicated event, and we turn that into one out-of-stock call. Very simple solution, but it worked, and again, days, or maybe a day to do. Each of these, if you didn't have these primitives, you may be stumped and think, this is gonna take us multiple sprints to do. We just had the ability to do them so quickly. Handled. All right, so we got through the boss fights, but we need to gear up for the final battle. There's some extra artifacts we need to equip with. The shield of cloud resiliency. Okay, active passive I mentioned was a must-have for day one because of the importance of these orders. So we decided to have it set up in our US East 1 and US West 2 regions. There was a price drop last year for global DynamoDB, which makes this actually really cost effective. If you don't know how it works too, your SLA is gonna be a composite of all your serverless services. And so when we added everything up in one region, it was 99.6, which is okay, but not really for prod. By setting up the active passive, which was not a lot of work, again, took maybe a few days to do, it's 5 nines, right? That's impressive. You may think that might be overkill, but we actually did have an outage. Secrets Manager and DynamoDB were out for 3 hours. In the middle of the day, it would have been catastrophic for this product and the trust that the business would have with us. The scroll of unit economics, okay? If you haven't read The Frugal Architect, you should. It's Werner's thing that he released last year. I love what it talks about. It costs is a day one non-functional requirement, right? Building it as part of your initial design to be cost effective at scale. Trade-offs, right? Standard versus express step functions. We didn't need these things running for longer than 5 minutes. These are pretty quick, so we can use express step functions. But this trade-offs doesn't have all the features. It was more important to us to save money, so we picked a cost-effective way. And the beautiful thing, as you know, the cost of a single order is the same, essentially, as the 100 millionth order, and it's just amazing for planning financially and starting off really small with a small investment. It's one of my favorite, and like the business, when they find out how it works, they're like, why don't we do this more often? It's so nice. But remember, no silver bullets, right? It might not be the cheapest option, serverless. All right, what year is it? I have not talked about AI. Probably feels like a talk from a few years ago, but here it comes. Okay, I'm calling it the thought engine, right? So this was one of the first products we built in the age of all this agentic AI. And yes, we did use it as an accelerator from day one. A lot on the software development lifecycle side. Prototyping in the beginning when we had this idea. Code dev, code review, implementing Bedrock in GitLab. Testing, it writes tests very well. You have inputs and outputs. Seeing at least 2 to 3 times faster than that. We are using Nick mentioned earlier, the workflow method. We're using operational summary workflows with Bedrock. So we have step functions that run once a day or every few hours that's looking at operational things and then analyzing the logs, analyzing the data in DynamoDB, and doing the work of someone that would have to look at it. And it actually provides recommendations. Hey, you should check out the store. It's been paused for too long. Really powerful and just scratching the surface. And then sales and order cancellation rates as well. We're evaluating agents for recovery and automation. That will be the next thing, the full agents, right? That maybe they can figure out on their own how to solve these problems. That's gonna be the future. Okay, so what was results? You're all curious, right? We actually launched it in 8 weeks. We beat it by a month. We were in production. Uptime, latency, cost goals all hit. I can't share the exact numbers, but we reduced cancellations drastically, which made the business very happy. So KPIs were improved. And it was built to be globally ready for global expansion. It's a true SaaS product with tenants. And so we're ready to go to the rest of the world. And it was truly fast, cheap, and good. We hit that. So that's how we beat the Iron Triangle. With agility, we basically laser focused on the things that mattered and we let go of the rest. With strength, we built on composable, proven building blocks. We didn't reinvent the wheel. And wisdom, We stayed pragmatic and flexible. We used the right tools for the job. We stayed grounded in one shift. You might not get the chance to build something perfect, but if you level up your team, power up your traits, have the right battle plan, you can build something fast, that's cost effective even at scale, and that's not only good, but great. Thank you and good luck on your next boss fight. Real quick shout out to the team who actually did this. I'm just telling their story. It was an amazing accomplishment, so thank you everyone.